I know I teased some thoughts about training camp, and it kind of was looking at an angle of like guys that need to step up, but I have some other thoughts as well that I want to run by you guys of some things that, you know, since we've left camp, I try my best to keep in contact with people at camp or people that are involved with the practices and stuff like that. And my number one thought here is, and I don't think we've talked very much about this, but there's a real battle at the backup quarterback spot here. And I got that acknowledged today.
Okay.
That Cooper Rush, he's got a hold on the job right now, but Will Grier is right there.
You don't say.
Yeah. And I'm interested because we were doing the Cowboys 53-man roster and Michael Gelkin kept 3 quarterbacks. So I was curious, but I felt like that Will Grier was having some really good practices and Cooper Rush was getting by because of what he did in the Minnesota game last year. But my guy said, listen, no, there's a legitimate battle here. And he says the staff is not going to give Grier the job, but it's closer than people think.
Yeah, we gotta keep that in mind because Cooper Rush has had some major ups and downs. There was a preseason like his rookie year that looked good, and then there were like 2 bad years of football that led to the team letting him go. Last year they bring him back, they needed him. You beat the Vikings, but it was really your defense. Like you didn't score a number of points that would predict you would win any game. 20 points, you're expecting to lose that game.
Absolutely.
That's the kind of performance Rush put out there, a losing offensive performance. So this is exciting to me because the idea that maybe Will Grier took a full off season to learn the offense and now he can do something better than Cooper Rush might be needed. I think unfortunately Dak had like 3 or 4 injuries over a 20-game period.
I'm encouraged at the fact that at least there's competition there.
Yeah,
at that spot, and we're just going to give that job. But I just feel like though that if Will Grier can show something like you were talking about, General, in these practices when they work with the other teams, and then some of these preseason games, he's got 2 preseason games I think to go take this job. So I kind of feel like that would be an upgrade if, in fact, Will Grier got this job. I liked him coming out of West Virginia a lot. Okay.
Throws the deep ball well.
He does throw the deep ball well. Okay. Dennis Houston, he's the wide receiver, has been getting a lot of work with the first offense. But Noah Brown and Simi Fehoko have been better players. I kind of feel like that we're to the point right now where they keep giving Dennis Houston all these reps, and he's really not taking advantage of him. And so I think he's into that mode right now where, again, practices against Denver, preseason game. Then you think, well, you got 2 more preseason games after that. I think they're interested in finding out who they can really, really rely on at wide receiver and go from there. And Dennis Houston to me hasn't been reliable enough as compared to the Noah Browns and the Simi Fehokos.
Man, I'm with you on that, and I don't know why Houston continues to get preferential treatment in there, but Fehoko just made another play a few minutes ago.
Yeah, that's something because they're going to have to keep Washington on the active roster. They're going to have to keep, at least for that that last cut, so they can get him off IR. Then you're probably going to have to keep, they don't want to put Gallup on PUP, because that would be a 4-game miss. And I keep saying this. I know some national folks have picked up on my thought about the fact that maybe that the Joneses are not interested in doing anything with the wide receiver because Gallup is closer than we think to coming back. Missing that first game, but we'll see what happens in that Cincinnati game in week 2.
Yeah, maybe that's part of playing this thing by ear as the next couple of weeks play out. Let's see how close Gallup can be to healthy, and then we'll decide how much of we need to invest in another player.
Yeah, well, Dennis Houston, you're a guy that needs to step up a little bit more here, so I'm singling you out for that. Okay, Tyler Smith continues to split snaps with Connor McGovern at that left guard spot. I really thought this fight would be over by now, but Joe Philbin appears to be interested in carrying this thing at least through the preseason. Everybody wants to believe that this is going to be Tyler Smith's job, and I think it will be. But I'm amazed that they continue to split these reps. And I've learned that Philbin and the assistant offensive line coach there were really not totally on board with Tyler Smith's selection. So they're making this, it was really more about the head coach and more about the scouts, why Tyler Smith is here with the Dallas Cowboys. But Joe Philbin, they're going to continue to split these snaps.
Boy, that jammed me up. I don't know if I'm Mike McCarthy, Stephen Jones, Jerry Jones. I don't know which one I got to put myself in their shoes to hear this report and go down to somebody's office and be like, hey, what's your job, coach? What's your boss's job, head coach? And who picks the players, scouts? What do? You coach the players we give you.
Yeah.
What the hell's going on? We need to build Tyler Smith into a good player as soon as possible. His upside is, through the stratosphere. Connor McGovern, we've had him for 4 years. We know he can barely play, Joe. Okay? So I don't know if you think you're coaching for your job or whatever, but you better know that your next decision on who starts at left guard is for your job. And if I see Connor McGovern out there, you're done. Okay?
Yeah.
Look at what the organization is doing. It's not a go-for-it year. It's not a win-at-all-cost year. It's a bit of a developmental year. Let's get Tyler Smith out there. There's just so much inconsistency, and I think, liberty taking. It was the special teams coach 2 years ago calling fake punts in the middle of a third quarter that's crucial. Now it's the offensive line coach deciding we like Terrence Steele instead of Lyle Collins, and we like Connor McGovern instead of the giant left guard that we brought in here to be a power force in the running game. It's just killing me, Brian, and I wish leadership there was a little bit more offended by insubordination underneath them. This isn't funny.
No, it's not funny at all. Okay, Marquise Bell, the safety, I feel like is putting distance between Tyler Corral and Israel Mukuamu right now.
Look at him go.
And so I feel
he looks like a real player out there, Brian.
And he is. And he actually got snaps. I was wondering when this was going to happen. And it actually happened yesterday that Bell was getting snaps with the first team. Curse was out with a little bit of an injury that they didn't feel like it was anything serious. But he was out. So Bell was getting those first team reps. Well, Coyle and Mukuamu are guys I kind of felt like they were going to be the ones battling for maybe that fourth spot. I don't think that's the case anymore. I think Bell's going to make this team.
So Bell is another domestic guy.
Yeah, he was at Maryland and then transferred to Florida A&M.
Okay.
But yeah, there's some off the field stuff there with him. But you look at him, how he physically looks, how he plays.
He moves around like a first-round player.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's a guy that he's for real. Mm-hmm. And I felt like Coral was going to be that guy because I feel like they were going to look for a real, true free safety. But, I tell you what, Bell has shown that he could play up and he could play back.
So you have Hooker and Curse as your two, and then where's Bell in there?
Yeah, Bell's a backup, and then Smith as well
at either spot.
Yeah, as in either spot. So I was.
And where's Donovan Wilson?
That's what I'm saying. Well, not Smith. Wilson would be the guy that I would say would be the guy that I would have in there as that fourth guy. So Mukuamu, who was a guy that was drafted, really kind of hasn't done very much. He might be shown the door here when it's all said and done. And my final thing here real quick before I get out of here is there's been no challenger to Tyler Broaddus' job. And I do believe that if something happened to him, that they might move Connor McGovern to his spot and let him play center over the other centers they currently have.
Wow.
Yeah, that they would go ahead and say, and I think before long we're going to start seeing McGovern not only get work at the guard spot like he's been doing, splitting the reps, but I think we're going to see him maybe get some work at center as well, because the backups to Tyler Broaddus just have not been good enough, and maybe the preseason games will clearly show that.
Cannot get right since Frederick left.
Exactly. So keep an eye on Connor McGovern, especially if Tyler Smith starts to get full-time work. We think at that left guard spot, maybe Connor McGovern will get work at center. And that would be the backup to if something happened to Tyler Broaddus.